Okay, so I'd like to talk to you about a laser Hive conversion to mirror drive door Mac. Now, I don't know whether you're familiar with the mirror drive door model, but it has this really nice panel at the front that normally on the first slot where you can see this camera is plugged in, it would have a DVD drive. Now, inside the mirror drive door Mac, when you convert that to PC configuration, there's no room for a DVD drive in that location. So here you can see got this nice output panel, which is it's got capable of two USB 3 slots, and it's got HD audio, mic and headphone inputs. Also got two USB 2.0 ports and FireWire, and that's completely functional. Now you can see here that the front panel is also functional with the power switch, and that's the power LED that's on there in white. And where the headphone socket was, there is an HD activity light to show you what the hard disk is doing and show you that that's on. Otherwise, this is all completely standard, and when you shut the front flap up and you don't have anything plugged in, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this and an original mirror drive door model. Okay, you can see here on the side, all exactly the same as original, and of course on the opening door you've got exactly the same here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the back of this model, and you can see exactly how the conversion has worked on the back. Okay, obviously I've got various things plugged in, but here you can see that it's been converted from the unusual mirror drive door back configuration to something that looks a little bit more like a standard earlier G4 configuration for the Sawtooth Mac, but instead it still actually has all of the mirror drive door original features. So you've got the power supply and slot with the mesh going down the right hand side. So it's basically the door that's been converted here to make it work. And you can see we've got two laser cut panels here. We've got a right hand panel that on this one is coloured in a gloss grey, and that's quite a popular colour because it goes very well with the original colouring. It's quite close to it. On the left hand side, that's actually a matte black panel, and of course you can ask for whatever colour you want, but that's just a contrast there to show you can have it all grey and it would look very Mac like. I'm going to open this up now so you can see the system is running. So it retains all the configuration features of the original mirror drive door, in that you can open the whole system while it's still running. Here you go. So you've got a micro ATX board mounted on the door, which is great. This one is my old work motherboard actually, so this one is what I use to do all the laser cutting with, and I run Windows 7 on this to do that. This is actually of course the standard Intel cooler on there, and we've got all the various bits and pieces coming in. If you then look on the inside, you can see there's a 140 millimeter fan there, and this is the rear of the I/O panel that I've added in. So that is a laser cut panel there with a Corsair I/O fitment. Above that you could see the original power switch board and everything, and actually that's all being converted on the inside so that you can reuse the original cable which comes down here. I've actually routed the cables behind the other plastic panel on the other side, so that you see they disappear in through this rubber grommet to protect all the cables. And similarly, I've done that with the power supply here. So the power supply has got all its cables running around the back, and the ones that I'm not currently using, they are stored actually in the back part there. The ones that I am using are coming through, and you can see they come through at the bottom here. Now there is a rectangular slot at the bottom which feeds all the cables in. I'm going to be making cable covers so that actually you don't see all of this stuff in the bottom here, but this actually just shows you how it works. It's quite neat to show it. I'll be showing, doing some videos of some accessories for this, like the cable cover and stuff like that. You can see all the different cables plugging in here and coming in there. Okay. How this door actually works, I'm going to write this up on the website on how to do a DIY conversion on this, but basically you have to use one part from the original mirror drive door model here. So this outer door is original to the mirror drive model, but the inner door actually comes from an earlier model. So this can come from, for instance, a Sawtooth Mac or something like that, where they were actually just single skin. So this was originally just the single skin door on the original Sawtooth Mac. That's been cut, obviously, to conform to the different bits and pieces from the mirror drive, and also drilled and put into place. Now that really is needed because the back panel of the mirror drive door, as it originally came, has a completely weird configuration and takes a lot of metal work to convert. So grafting bits of two old Macs together to make one new conversion is quite a sensible idea and works quite well. If you then come over here, you can see this is an original drive carrier. Now it's been cut down slightly, so you can see I put some trim on there, but that can still carry a single 3.5 inch hard drive, and you can also, with a 3.5 to 2.5 inch adapter, which I can make out of acrylic, you can mount then a, for instance, SSD drive onto there. So you get two drives in there. The reason I cut it down is so that when this door closes, if you have a higher height video card, a more modern one than one that I've got in, for instance a 560 Ti or something like that, that can actually fit completely in this case and not interfere with the drive there. Now if we just take a little look at the back of here, you can see that the metalwork of the original mirror drive door on that side is pretty much unchanged. There are a few little bits and pieces here and there where you have to trim a few tabs off to get the other side to fit properly, but really there's nothing major. It's a very simple conversion to that side. What I've done with the power supply here is of course optional. It's the way I chose to do it. I've kept the original mirror drive door housing for their power supply because I really like the way that it all fits in there, and inside that I've put a 500 watt shuttle PSU, so that all fits really neatly in there, and it's got fans on the intake and on the exhaust as well, so that shouldn't get hot, and it's in the original placement. If you don't have the original housing or you want to do something different, then it's very easy, of course, to do a custom rear panel. You could actually have a power supply that extends all the way out to here and then mount that to the side. That's quite possible, so you could actually put in virtually a standard ATX supply on there with just some modifications to the mountings, and you could probably get that one in there without too much problem. Again, all of these things are possible, but this just shows you how I've done this particular one, and basically I hope you like it, and if you've got any comments on this video, I'd be very interested to hear them. One last thing actually I'd like to show you is on the front panel side. You can see there I put a little cutout. Now the reason for that cutout is you can have an optional feature in there which adds a hot swap 2.5-inch drive which you can access through the front flap. I'll show you that in a minute when I turn the machine back around again. So you can see everything running around nice and coolly there. These cables, you could tidy them away a little bit more, and in fact if you wanted you could mount, for instance, a water cooling radiator and have one of the Corsair H60, H70 products on the front there. That would work really well if you wanted to have a higher power setup, and everything would fit in there really nicely. I'll just show you the door closing so you can see all of that. So this goes up, system's still running. If it wasn't running, this camera wouldn't be working. And there we go, that all just locks really nice and neatly there. And you can see that this is quite a nice conversion, I think. The back, although obviously when you convert one of these, it has to look different to the original because you can't really keep that original look with the micro ATX type of setup. It's all very neat and well finished, and the actual back plate in there comes from a Lian Li motherboard, so it does take a little bit of work to get all these things going. So it's not, I would say, a beginner's DIY project, but I can supply you with certainly help on this, as well as of course all of the different laser cut bits and a guide on how to do it. Okay, so I just want to show you the front now again. So there you can see everything working there nicely, and I will now show you the rear flap. So there you go. If you had a 2.5-inch SSD you wanted to plug it in there, you could plug in there. You also could of course decide to put more drives on the internal, because there's really quite a bit of space in there. So for instance, what you could have is you could have another drive or two mounted down the bottom, or you could have a drive here mounted where the cables are. As long as you don't come out to a greater depth than the original drive carrier that I've got showing there, you could mount a good array of stuff. One last option, which I'm going to be doing and also showing on here, would be to actually put in a slim DVD drive player. Now that will attach with industrial Velcro onto the side here. You'd have a different cut in the back, so actually you'll have a thing there with an opening for the DVD to go in and out, and you can then actually have a DVD player mounted on the back of here, so whenever you need to upgrade software or something that requires stuff on a CD or a DVD, you can just pop it in the back rather than popping it in the front, and that way you don't lose any functionality. So I think this is a really neat way of converting to micro ATX, a case that often is overlooked just because it presents such difficulties to the DIY PC modder. But actually, with a little bit of ingenuity and some borrowing of parts from an earlier model, it is possible to do this. So okay, thank you very much for watching, and that's it.